Перебежку! Перебежку! О, блядь!
Опа!
So I'm climbing on top of a car garage roof, and which overlooks the Donetsk airport, where today the separatists turned up and took the terminal building. And earlier there was some pretty serious fighting by the looks of things, and there's a plume of black smoke coming out the front of the building. There's a fighter jet circling above the city, assuming it's the Ukrainian militaries, but at the moment we're not sure really what's going on, but it certainly looks like there's been seen some pretty heavy fighting at the airport. There's the occasional bang, sort of sounds like gunfire, but could be anything, something exploding because of the fire. The police aren't really letting any of the cars go further forward from this position. We're probably about maybe a kilometre or so away. The Ukrainian army had soldiers inside the airport surrounding the runway this morning, so possibly they were attacked by the separatists who took the terminal, but the information is still a little bit scarce at the moment. Yeah, some pretty heavy fire now. There's like a supermarket or some sort of retail centre called Metro on the corner. It seems to be coming from that direction. It really sounds like they're using RPGs.
А что там, откуда там могут стрелять?
Откуда? Сзади? Откуда?
So we've moved up closer to the entrance to the airport. The gunfire is still raging inside on what we assume is still the rebel-held side of the airport, and they're putting up what looks and sounds like a pretty tough fight. This is definitely the heaviest fighting the Donetsk People's Republic have had to engage in.
Бойцов не снимайте, ребят, пожалуйста.
Лица, не снимаем лица.
Идет кто-то.
Наши. Стоп, рассредоточьтесь, мужики, что вы стали кучей, блядь? Никто не знает, куда они стреляют.
Отойдите от машины, бегом нашли! Пулите оттуда!
Да. Давай, родной.
They've just brought one of the wounded forward on one of these flatbed trucks. Looks like he's taken a shot to the leg. He's got one bandage on at the moment, it's still bleeding. The soldiers here, there's about maybe 10, 15 of them, some of them with anti-tank missiles, mostly with assault rifles. But they're pretty jumpy. Obviously there's some really heavy fighting around the airport now, and they're sort of a bit annoyed by all the press. And they managed to get a car up here, and they sped the fuck out of here as soon as they could. Some of them went with them, they're kind of slowly withdrawing, I think. Sounds as if some rifle fire was coming actually from behind us then, down the road. We're really, really close. So the rebels have pulled back from the access road. They fired an anti-tank rifle as they went. A massive explosion. Not sure whether they hit anything, but they pulled up this road, and then it sounded as if they were coming under sniper fire, or it was them returning fire. I'm not sure, but whatever it was really close.
Смотри, быстрее, а то нас с следующего переулка обойдут. Давай, бегом, загрузились на базу, там сбор.
Давайте быстрее, дядя, быстрее!
Сколько их против вас там воюют?
До вчера их высадило 4 вертушки.
Сколько в численности?
Я хер его, может роты 3-4.
Yeah, those are helicopters now moving in on the airport. Wow, yeah, look, it's a Hind attack helicopter. It's coming under fire from the rebels. All around us, they're firing. That helicopter's really low. Yeah, it's still here, look. It sounds like rebels are all around this area and they tried to hit it, but it was popping flares as well. Wow. That's the helicopter, I think. Look, here it is, it's coming down. It just fired what we think were rockets, and it's popping flares again so that it can't get hit by anti-aircraft missiles. You can hear the return fire from the rebels further into the city. That's the cannon fire. Only a few hours after yesterday's presidential elections, the government announced that they would restart the anti-terror operation that they paused for the elections. And this actions today around the airport are very clear that they really, really mean business this time. They're not messing around. They're hitting this with everything they've got. So this is the position we withdrew from about 45 minutes ago, and some of the rebels have returned to that spot. There's just an old guy standing in the middle of the road with a cross and a Bible, seemingly not too bothered by the threat of gunfire.
Отдай патроны сюда.
Да, но у тебя по дороге выпало, а я только побежал и... Транзиты.
Перебежку! Перебежку! О, блядь!
Опа.
As we were talking to the rebel fighters, we came under accurate sniper fire from the direction of the airport, which forced us to roll into the ditch alongside them. And after realising the sniper could now likely see us, it was time for us to pull out.
So yesterday saw the heaviest fighting in eastern Ukraine since the crisis started here. Early in the morning, the Donetsk People's Republic rebels moved towards the airport, tried to take the terminal building. The Ukrainian army that were there gave them an ultimatum to lay down their arms and leave or face a retaliation. By the time we'd left around 5 o'clock in the evening, we could see that the rebels had been pushed back towards the access road and no longer controlled the airport. We're at the scene of what looks like a truck crash. We heard that this was carrying wounded from the airport, Donetsk People's Republic wounded, and somehow it crashed here, and we're not sure how that happened. Some saying it was an RPG, some saying the driver was shot dead, but it's a real mess, and we're going to try and find out what happened here.
Насколько я понимаю, ехали чеченцы туда, в ту сторону. 3 грузовика видели. Это один из них, которые видели, которые ехали в ту сторону. И мы должны выйти из этого кошмара. И то, что происходит, то, что делается в Киеве, это нормально все. Это я так считаю. И так многие думают. Но нам просто не дают рот раскрыть. Потому что оболванивание идет жуткое, чудовищное. То, что я слышу по радио, это ложь, ложь и ложь. И Россия сделает все возможное, а моя альма-матер сделает все возможное, чтобы раздавить это, расчленить на куски. К сожалению. Если нам кто-то может помочь, то помогите, потому что сами мы не выгребаем отсюда. Цивилизацию. Мы хотим, чтобы здесь были перемены.
So we're outside one of the main hospitals in Donetsk, and the guy's telling us here that 30 of those killed in yesterday's clashes are being kept here, so they're going to show us.
Хватит снимать уже.
Все равно вы правды на весь свет не расскажете. Брехню начнете потом. Уходите.
Давай.
Не покажете, потому что не показываете. Снимать снимаете, а не показываете.
Выходим. Пожалуйста. Пожалуйста.
Работать мешает.
Ну, пожалуйста, ребят.
Ну, я уже рассказывал один раз, я ж не могу подействовать. В настоящее время, значит, проводится осмотр трупов и вскрытие. То есть трупы вскрываются судебно-медицинскими экспертами. Значит, личности большинства трупов не установлены, документов у них нет. Кто это такие, мы не знаем. Со слов представителей Донецкой Народной Республики, это люди, их бойцы. То есть бойцы на Донецкой Народной Республике все без исключения. Иных лиц здесь нет. Я видел списки, по которым, значит, доставлено сюда 33 бойца. Все бойцы имеют огнестрельные ранения, пулевые, осколочные, взрывные. Вот все, что я могу сказать на сегодняшний момент. Вот на данное число, вот сейчас.
So this is the main access road to the airport through the centre of the city, and it looks as if the DPR have set up a sort of checkpoint, making sure cars can't go any further. They've set up a couple of sandbag emplacements now as well, and there's some gunmen walking around. Some people are saying here that the rebels are preparing for possibly an assault by the Ukrainian military, although we've seen no evidence of that. So for over 2 months, the Donetsk People's Republic have been able to take over government buildings and attack the Ukrainian military with sort of minimal resistance. Yesterday so far was most certainly the heaviest fighting that we've seen in eastern Ukraine. The Ukrainian military were using fighter jets, helicopters against the rebels, and it was clear that the rebels just couldn't handle that air superiority. And now it seems the momentum is clearly with the Ukrainian military.